Hello and welcome to the debrief. This is a show where we take a look and see what you guys, Hammers Chat subscribers, are saying about the game yesterday. So if you're joining me live, good morning. Get your thoughts into the live chat. And if you're watching this a little bit later on Sunday, we're having a fantastic day so far, whatever you're up to, whether you're on a Sunday roast, watching the football, getting your jacket on and zipped up and a woolly hat on and going for a walk in this weather. Hope you have a great day. But get your thoughts into the comments below if you're watching this later on or perhaps on Monday or something like that. Basically, let me know what you're thinking. It could be mainly about the game yesterday, but if you want to talk about the bigger picture at the West Ham, you're more than welcome to. Anyway, I had a telling off from some subscribers on Hammers Chat yesterday, and a couple of my friends as well text me. Think your personal life is interfering with work life. Bit grumpy today. Maybe some subscribers said a bit harsh in my review. But on the flip side, swings and roundabouts, some said completely agree, friends and subscribers. But this is a show where we take a look at what you're saying. I'm not feeling grumpy today, though. My grumpiness is gone. Watched the football last night and then I watched the Arsenal game, then I watched the Napoli game. Found myself becoming a bit of a Napoli watcher this season, actually. I don't really watch Italian football, but with the introduction of Scott McTominay and Billy Gilmour, although he's not really playing too much. Someone I would love to see a sign in the summer, by the way. Calling it now. Billy Gilmour to West Ham this summer. That's someone on my wish list, right? There you go. Billy Gilmour to West Ham. Get him on there. Get him in. Get him in. But Scott McTominay, bang, scoring again. Been monitoring a match-worn, well, it's a match-issued shirt, but who cares? Billy Gilmour Napoli shirt, £128 at the minute, debating it. I think I'm going to build my collection. I've only really got this one. I've got a couple more, but they're not framed. But I think I'm going to, maybe in the next couple of years, I'm going to become a bit of a collector of football shirts. Billy Gilmour and Scott McTominay Napoli shirts are on the wish list. Scott McTominay's too expensive. His goes for big money. Napoli fans must love him. Anyway, right, I've delayed long enough for people to get their comments into live chat. Vin says, this club will never learn until we have a change of ownership. We must have the highest Premier League spend for the smallest return. I don't know. I think because we've been in the Premier League for so long, that obviously skews it a little bit, compared to clubs who, let's just say Brighton or Bournemouth, who haven't had that much Premier League years behind them. But Newcastle, I feel like it's a difficult one. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, you could argue Spurs. I know they've won trophies, but they've spent a hell of a lot of money. We have a trophy. Granted, not a domestic one, but at least we've got a trophy to show for it in some regard. And I guess it determines what you say is successful. I think being in the Premier League for over a decade is successful. I appreciate not everyone will subscribe to that notion, but if you were to go and ask, I don't know, a Leeds United fan, they might, or a Blackburn Rovers fan especially, Bolton fan, those that have been in it and gone away and don't look like Portsmouth fans. Although saying that, they're probably one of the clubs with success, with relatively, they did spend a bit, didn't they? But they got the FA Cup, so I'd trade in the Conference League for the FA Cup. So there you go. But anyway, I think just maybe worse clubs, Finn. Difficult to think off the top of my head, but that's a debate that you could do. I could sit here and do a 20-minute video with someone about that topic. Brian said, I'm still annoyed about yesterday. Only 2 attacking-minded players in starting 11 against Palace. Is it any wonder we look so bad going forward? I struggle with this approach. I don't want to see that many defensive players on a team again. Either Souček, Alvarez, or Rodriguez playing together. It's too slow, not dynamic. Our best performance is still against Villa in the Cup. Simon said no tactical acumen and motivation will overcome the weakness of a squad hit by no striker options, no pace in midfield and defence, all of which exposed by playing 3 games in a week. However, the introduction of youth was refreshing and injected some energy, but we badly need to get some transfers done urgently and not wait for a summer rebuild. Make West Ham great again says, with the benefit of hindsight, would you have signed Kilman on a 40 million 7-year deal? Mavpanos distracts from how poor Kilman is. Pound for pound, one of the worst. I don't need hindsight. When you do videos, you'll often get people that agree with you and you'll get dug out for things. And it goes with the territory. I'm okay with it as long as it doesn't, as long as it sticks to a sort of West Ham debate. When it goes out those parameters, that's when it's a bit uncomfortable. But regardless, I remember it. What the backlash is, I say backlash, those that disagreed with Kilman I felt like it echoed James Ward-Prowse. So let me go back to a year and a half ago when we signed James Ward-Prowse. And my opinion on the signing was good player, we've overpaid, no resale value. And then when the season started and Ward-Prowse was playing well, you would get digs made at you. People in the comments go, Ward-Prowse played again, but there's no resale value. And I thought, well, whoa, just wait. Let's just wait. And I was confident in my opinion on James Ward-Prowse. So I was able to ride the wave, if you like, of Ward-Prowse because he started the season very well. And I think he went on to have a decent season. All right. I think Ward-Prowse had a decent season last year. I think it was maybe underestimated or underappreciated to some extent, and he's been discarded a little bit too easily. But then in the summer, we had to loan him. We couldn't sell him. So I felt my initial thoughts on Ward-Prowse was proven correct. You can obviously dispute this, but my opinion was 30 million was too much, no resale value. We've had to loan him out. What's he worth in today's market? I don't know, 15, 20 million. It's depreciating anyway. In Kilman, I had the same opinion. Decent, average Premier League centre-back, way too much money, no resale value. And again, you get the same criticisms, but I thought I'll just ride this wave because I've literally just done it a year ago. And I feel like it's coming to fruition. And I hope it wouldn't. I hope he was going to go on and ram those words back down my throat. But I think even if you remove players and if you take Kilman out of the equation for a second, what we did in the summer was our head coach said, I want that guy. And we went, okay, we'll go get him. And I don't mind that, by the way. Going and getting a player that your head coach really, really wants, I don't think is a bad strategy. But I think when the player that you're going to go get is costing 40 million and is on a 7-year contract, but the head coach is on a 2-year contract, doesn't really add up, does it? It's a big investment for a head coach that was possibly only going to be here for 2 years at West Ham. And I think that was the risky part. And now, obviously, 7 months later, his head coach is gone and Kilman's still here. I think what I will say, though, is I think Kilman will do okay under Potter. I think Potter will make him a better centre-back. Whether that happens or not, we will wait and see. Bad performance yesterday. He's not been in great form. I think if you split Kilman's form into two, the first half, I thought he was good. The second half, I don't know, say October onwards. I'm just guessing here. I don't think he's had a great time at West Ham, but I think he will improve under Graham Potter. So do I think with hindsight, I don't need hindsight. I think it was an expensive deal at the time. He's an average Premier League centre-back. I think that's what we've got, and I think that's what we're witnessing. And I appreciate people think that's an insult. It's not necessarily. I think it's an incredible achievement being an average Premier League player. I think, you'll play for most clubs in the league, whether it's, a squad role at somewhere like West Ham, or you'll start for a team a little bit further down the league. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Anyway, right, let's get back to the live chat and see what some people are saying. Matt missed the game, but he doesn't mind because he had a fantastic morning with his son. Loved that. Hope you both had a really good time. Well, you did have a really good time, whatever you were up to. Glad you enjoyed it. Mick said Potter made errors yesterday, but I'm still optimistic and hope he gets a time that is clearly required. Mark is grumpy. Where's the reported player that we're going to unveil this weekend? I think I've missed that report. I didn't know we were supposed to be signing one this weekend, but then there's been very little rumours. The end of the last week was we're not close to signing anyone. So I think we'll sign someone before we play Aston Villa. Don't know who, by the way. I haven't a clue. I just think it's because it's the 19th of January. The wheels are going to start to get in motion. So I think we might have a player, a newbie. If I was to guess now, and this is purely a guess, I promise you there's no snippets of info here. This is just guessing. I think it'll be Andre Silva on loan. I think that's what we'll do. We'll see. Matt says Bournemouth have suspension injuries, 2 first-team players, but 1-4-1. I want to say no excuses, but Potter's had a week. I'm not getting into this. I'm moving on. Gary said yesterday was a sobering experience. Back down to earth with a bump. Steve says that everything were not explosive pace, bold, aggressive, depressing to watch us plod around, creating nothing. West Ham great again says, there goes my foolish dream of 8. Hey, have foolish dreams, but life's about. Adrian says, people I spoke to went to the game, said there's a sour atmosphere at the ground, even before kickoff. Not sure of why not what I wanted to hear in the back of a win. We'll maybe come back to that one, Adrian, if we've got time later on in the video. Guy said we overpaid for average players. The Kilman deal will haunt us for a while. Malik says personal opinion is we would have done worse with Lopetegui and Moyes. I want to see some positives from that, although we definitely need a goal scorer. Impossible to say, in my opinion. Infinitely said attacking players' injuries have hurt the team. Showed yesterday. Defensively, we are worse. Probably need 2 new centre backs. Matt says I would rather have kept a 50% Ogbonna than Kilman and Donkey Dino. Kervin Ord said yesterday was cold reality that some players are not good enough. Still have more faith in Potter than Lopetegui. Dylan says that we need a team made up of a majority with pace, energy, and high work rate with 1 or 2 flair players. Our recruitment has been poor. Hammer 99 says our positive yesterday was the young lads. Orford, neat, tidy, and didn't stop showing for the ball. Composed for 18. Scars, good going forward. Look confident. Casey should get a go against Villa. I'm completely on board with that one. Sai says time for Sullivan to put his divide and rule crap with Steiden aside for the good of Potter and the team. It's time to come together and grab some players and who we can. Dave said Lopetegui picked that line up and got the result. We would be calling for him to be sacked. Rooster said, do you think we will always play without what we need with Sullivan taking charge? Every season I've watched us, we're always missing a position. Sully out. We'll come back to that one. Let me start that. Ryan says we desperately need to sign a striker. One big difference was that Palace had Mateta, a clinical striker. If possible, we call a Gerd and sign a striker and a potential midfield. Matt says, as happy as I am to see youth get a few games, I'm also nervous for them because of the fans who will give them criticism when they make a mistake, just like what we did with Mubama. James was disappointed with Kudus yesterday. Might be confirmation bias, but I keep seeing him jogging about and didn't look interested. Jose says Potter needs time with 8 months to prepare for next season. Play some of our academy players, bring in some talented players, and we'll have a great squad. Potter is the man. Infinitely said the homegrown tax will come back to bite. Ward-Prowse, Kilman, maybe shopping for homegrown abroad might be more cost effective, such as Gomez. Yeah, I got done a little bit when I've hinted about selling. Sorry, when I do these videos, basically, when I said, "Oh, there's a midfielder in France," I didn't name him, but it was Gomez. A couple of people clicked on it because they sent me the links when we got linked to him. Said, "Is this him?" And it's yeah, that's the guy that I would like. The free signing, I think, is a bit of a no-brainer, really. In regards to a Gerd, by the way, what I will say about Nathan Gerd, we can't recall him. We don't have a recall clause in his contract by the sounds of it. So the only way we'd get him back is if Real Sociedad agree, which they're never going to do. He's one of their best players, having a fantastic season. So in regards to recalling a Gerd, I think it's a no-go, really. I don't know if we're allowed to ring them up and offer them a complete refund on the wages they paid so far or the loan fee, and then we can get him back. I don't know if that's a thing, but I don't think a Gerd coming back is an option. But he's having a superb season. Personally, I understand why some people will call for it. And is it better than what we've got? Yes, but he was still pretty poor, and he still didn't really want to be at West Ham. So I think there's got to be. I don't think it's that naive to suggest there's a correlation between a Gerd being settled and enjoying life with his performances, and he's probably playing in a league that just suits him better. Hence why his performances are good. He struggled in the Premier League. I think, again, I don't think it's wild to suggest he would still struggle in the Premier League. He's just in a league that suits him better, if that makes sense. Long-winded, but I'm okay with him staying where he is. I think we do need a centre-back. Like I said, continuously, I'm surprised we've not been linked to more or any centre-backs. And Graham Potter, after the game yesterday, suggested that we do need a centre-back because of, Tadebo's injury. But I think we needed one anyway. So we'll wait and see who we go for if we do go for someone. But I think we'll get a centre-back and a striker in this window. We'll wait and see. Mark says, all good and well, signing a striker, but if we keep conceding 2 goals a game, it's irrelevant. If we didn't let 2 more cheap goals yesterday, it would have been 0-0, which is a better result. The one, that's what I will say. I think if we didn't do that sub at halftime, this is where I had a criticism of Potter, and it didn't go down too well, but it's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. I've watched the highlights back. And that sub impacts us. 0-0 at half-time, we're looking comfortable. And I think if we continued playing that in the second half, I think that game might have finished 0-0. I don't know, but what I do know is that 3 minutes into the second half, that sub hindered us. Rodriguez went off, Soler came on. So either tactically we got it wrong, or Souček was ill-disciplined and was 40 yards where he should have been, because Eze was unmarked in the middle of the pitch. That didn't happen in the first half. So I stand by it. I think tactically, or Souček, one of the two, led to Crystal Palace making it 1-0, and then they sat back, plugged any holes, and said good luck, and we didn't have an answer. So, small margins a little bit, but I think that one at halftime was the one that was a bit. Gates says squad is woefully inadequate, but really pleased to see youth being used. Forrest says look at our performances post winning in Europe. Rice is our biggest miss. Steiden's been underwhelming, and Potter needs time. Stuart says our academy players like Rio and Declan had some dodgy moments in the first few games, but the learning curve was steep. We should blood Casey, as his errors will likely be no more than Mavropanos. Yeah, I agree. I don't mind youngsters coming in and making mistakes. It's the best way to learn. Like, I keep going back, as he referred to Declan Rice there. I still remember him ducking again. I'm pretty sure it was against Arsenal with Joe Hart and goal. Cross come in and he ducked and went in the back of the net. Didn't see him duck across after that. That was it. He did it once, got punished for it, and didn't do it again. John says squad is not good or dense enough, deep enough. Squad is not good or deep enough. I know what you meant. You were just different. It's just that word, that terminology. Some would argue that the squad is stupid enough, but the manager needs time and he needs our patience. I'm treating the rest of the season as a platform to grow from. Tony saying is selling Guilherme the correct thing to do? I don't know because I'm not seeing enough of him. I don't see him on the training ground. I get why there's a temptation to sell him. I would understand why a certain person at the club would think it's a bad idea, because you would like to think he's got confidence he's going to go on and become a good player. But what I do know is, I've already sort of pat myself on the back a little bit earlier on, but I'm going to do it again. But when I'm saying Guilherme, the videos are here. You go watch them. So, well, what we're going to do with him? We need a development plan. It's all very well identifying young talent, but we're crap at developing young talent. Who's come from the academy into the first team in recent years? Ben Johnson was the last one. I know Scar's an offered at the minute, but they're not. I'm talking established first team players. Ben Johnson, Declan Rice. Before that, Mark Noble. There's few that flirted with it, but never really did it. We're rubbish at developing players. How many youngsters have we brought in to a lesser extent, and they've just done nothing? Absolutely nothing. Martinez, Cardoso. What was the Portuguese? We brought in Xande Silva. Those two Portuguese players. We do bring in young players. We often bring in 17, 18-year-olds, and we just do nothing with them. They go out on loan and do crap, or they just linger around the youth team, and we give them away at the end of it. We are crap at developing players. So signing Guilherme, just because he's 25 million and maybe starting from a higher point than some of the youngsters we brought in before, but he still needs developed. He still needs coached. We're rubbish at that aspect of it. There's no evidence pre-signing Guilherme that signing Guilherme was going to work. And I was hoping with this man that things might have changed in that regards, but it would suggest not really. And that's the frustrating thing. We can point to the academy and say, "Oh, it's performing well." It's performing well at their age groups. But I think an academy is performing well when there's players coming into the first team. Now, at the minute, we've got two of them picking up minutes, which is good. And I think they will for the remainder of the season, because I do feel like Potter is treating it like a bit of a pre-season, which I understand and I agree with. But yeah, so Guilherme, I wouldn't sell him yet. The reason I wouldn't sell him is because if Potter is going to treat it as an 8-month pre-season, which is what I hope he does, then give Guilherme opportunities, give him time between now and the end of the season, and let Potter evaluate him. Let Potter have a look and see if he wants to work with him. Then in the summer, let Potter decide, actually, no, we'll keep him around, or he ain't for me. So either sell him or loan him out somewhere and get him game time. So I would like Graham Potter sort of have him in the squad. The squad is thin, and even if we do bring in, let's just say we bring in a striker and a centre back, and that's it. They're both on loan. They come in now. Happy days. It's still, it's not the beefiest squad, is it? Guilherme is still an option at present. He's been on the bench pretty much all season, so I would keep him around because unless someone offers us stupid money, and I consider what we paid, 20 million. What we paid for him, 20 million. I appreciate if he could be 25, but he ain't met any clauses. I doubt the clauses in there is 3 sub appearances, right? So 20 million we've paid for him. If a Saudi club comes in and offers that, then I'd be tempted to go, yeah, and do you know what? We'll take it and we'll reinvest it. But I'm calm. I'm calm either way. Steve 50 said the team were fatigued. Hammers Gary said letting Tony Carr go was the start of lack of development of youth players. DV says, don't care what anyone says. We shouldn't be losing that game. Infinitely says Guilherme should have started with attacking options lacking. Ideal opportunity for him to start and show what he can do. N5 says keep him until the end of the season and give him minutes. And Hammer 99 says mentalities are a problem. As soon as we go down in the last year or so, I'm really confident we'll come back. That takes time to change, and that won't happen in the 9 days Potter's had. There was that stat came up during the game. I think we are bottom of the league for points picked up from losing positions. I think us and Southampton. Well, it's got to be Southampton because they've got none. I think they're still in 6 points, aren't they? That's bad. Anyway, we're down with Southampton. That's how bad we are. We're Southampton levels of when you go down, you ain't getting points. Thanks to West Ham Great again. I'm going to use that opportunity in his comment to do just that. Still got another 10 minutes. Don't worry, this is not the end of the video. Or worry, it's not the end of the video. I'm still going to keep going. But please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. 1,000 likes is the big target for every video. But if we can get there, it generally helps the video out. So if someone goes onto YouTube and puts in West Ham or something, this video, but hey, watch this one today. So please do drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Right, I've got a couple of comments that came up earlier. Adrian says the people I've spoken to went to the game. I said there was a sour atmosphere even before kickoff. It's just, I think it's the London Stadium as well, Adrian. It's not necessarily a reflection of Potter. I don't actually scrap that. It's not a reflection of Graham Potter. I'm quite confident. I think it's a reflection of, the season so far, maybe the last 2 years of West Ham. But I do think the stadium is an element. But there's also the non-West Ham side of it, which is things are expensive. It's an inconvenience. Like things outside of football make it difficult to go to football now. So train delays, costs of trains, everything's costs a lot of money these days. Things get moved. I mean, look at the Leicester game. I've seen people coming from abroad to the Leicester game. They've booked flights and hotels, and we've gone and moved the game. It's gone back to Thursday. Hang on a minute. I'm going home on Thursday. I was coming over for the match against Leicester, and you've shifted it. So it's difficult to get to football now, and then you take into consideration other things. I've never liked the stadium. I just don't go on about it because no one wants to hear me banging on about the stadium. And I appreciate I bring up a few times, but that's because I'm replying to Adrian in this case. It's not a pleasant experience. I can only speak for our little group. There's maybe 15 of us had a season ticket when we moved to London Stadium, and you went down there. And listen, the football's still crap. Okay, let's not pretend. Under Slaven Village, the football was good. We were getting thumped quite often. But there was about 15 of us. We'd go down, we'd have a few drinks before the game. It was a good laugh. You'd go on the ground, football was crap. You'd go back, you'd have a laugh, and you'd go home. And I think COVID really killed it. I think up until then, people were going frequently. There was a lot of us. Now, you're lucky there's 5 of us, and about 10 of us have a season ticket. Some people have walked away from the season tickets. There's still a lot of us with season tickets, but the enthusiasm just isn't there. And it's not a Graham Potter thing. And it's just, I think it's just life, to be honest with you. Personally, I won't be going for a while because of life. But Yeah, I get it. I do understand it. Chris says Wan-Bissaka's been error prone, same as most of the squad. Sloppy in possession, playing people on side, out of position. Yes, he's been one of the better signings, but he's not exempt from criticism. Gary says Moyes is responsible for a lot of this in terms of a small aging squad. With poor recruitment, where do you start? I struggle to blame Moyes for this squad. We spent over 100 million in the summer. Some of our better players, like Jared Bowen, in terms of not performing, but better players at the minute, and as in ability, say Mohamed Kudus, they were brought in under David Moyes. I think when you bring in 9 signings and spend 130 million, I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation that you address. At the end of the day, as we joked on here when we signed Fulkrug, he was 31 and he's our youngest striker. That's got the Ing signing certainly was in Moyes' tenure. There was an opportunity to sort that in the summer. There was an opportunity to bring in a 20-something-year-old striker. I don't know. I don't blame Moyes for where we are today. I blame Steiden and Lopetegui more than David Moyes. We spent if we only had 30 million to spend in the summer, then sure you could say, well, hang on a minute, this is not enough money. We had a lot of money to spend in the summer, a lot of it. You look around, there's plenty of examples. Let's take Max Kilman, for example, since he's getting a bit of criticism. So we've got Max Kilman for 40 million. Well, you could have had, for the same price, you could have had Milenkovic and Lacroix. So I just struggle to blame him personally. Right then. Donut said our stadium should be sold out every time and should be great in atmosphere. 3 years ago, nobody wanted to come to our ground for an away game. It is sold out every game. That's the thing. It is sold out. People just don't go. If you go on the ticket exchange, I don't, but if you were to go on the ticket exchange, that before the game, there's loads of tickets available. So it's sold out. The club will announce a full attendance, but John saying, what happened to those saying we won transfer window? I think it was a neutral thing. Funny enough, when I did the opposition previews, a couple of them said, oh, you won the transfer window. I thought there was more non-West Ham fans saying it than West Ham fans. I see him saying, what did I say? I don't blame Moyes. The most. I don't blame Moyes the most. That's. Let me just reiterate. I don't blame Moyes more than Tim Steiden for today's squad. Was the squad aging and needing a lot of work when he left? Yes, it was. Was it the best squad in the world that he left behind? No, but we had 130 million to spend. I feel like there was an opportunity to rectify it, and I'm not convinced we did. Bringing in Rodriguez, bringing in Fulkrug, I don't really feel did that. And obviously, Tadibo hasn't worked out. I still think he's a good player. Kilman. That's what I'm saying. I don't think David Moyes is the biggest reason for the squad today. I think Steiden and Lopetegui had a good opportunity to address it in the summer. That's it. That's my opinion. We had 130 million. We did spend well over 100 million. Sai said it was Sullivan that did it over Duran. Tim identified him, but Sullivan wouldn't budge on 40 million. It depends on what you read and who you believe, Sai. That might be true. I don't think it's true, but we don't know. Rooster said, remember Sullivan opted to sign Ben Rama when Watkins and Eze, but again, depends on what you believe. I think we wanted Eze, but the problem was we needed to sell before we could buy, which was Grady D and Ghana in this case. And then, yes, we went and got Ben Rama, and I agreed. Watkins and that were there and whatever, but anyway. West Ham again says, take a moment. Remember, Mavropanos was Steiden's first signing, pearl diving at its finest. I didn't mean to turn this video into a chat about who's to blame for the squad, but I just didn't. They're all to blame, right? Can we agree with that one? Warren says, let Porter pick the recruitment players. He's the one. I think he's getting to. I think that's the one. that's the one thing this window I do believe that he's having a big say, which if you're only bringing in players in loan, I think it should really be someone like Potter that chooses that one, because financially there's not a huge risk there. You want someone to plan for the long term, but if you're bringing in short-term transfers, I think the head coach is more than capable and should be allowed to be the one that chooses which players to bring in. I do agree with Gary here. My point was that Moyes needed too big an overhaul, should have done incrementally during his time. See, I am in agreement with that one, Gary, by the way. That's why I've said many times, I'm not aiming this at you, Gary, you know that. You've been around here long enough. But that's why I didn't understand the criticism over Liverpool's transfer window about how they didn't sign anyone. So it's like, oh, bad window. Not really. I think it's, if you don't need to sign anyone, then I think sometimes there's a misconception that quantity equals quality of transfer window. So the more players you sign, the better the window you have, and the least you sign, the worse window you have, which I don't think is true. But Liverpool did their overhaul the window before in midfield. Out went Fabinho, Keita, Henderson, and there was another one. Can't remember who. But Thiago then took a back step. In came Endo, McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch. Look at them today. So they overhauled their midfield in one window, and they've really benefited from it for getting it right 12 months before. Northern said, I like the idea of Sidon, however, he allows short-term thinking, such as facilitating Lopetegui and his striker, to see as the impact what his vision was. If you make sacrifices, live and die by your decisions. I agree with what he just said there. Livius just said, we just swap Ashford for Tim. No. I'm not going to, this isn't a plug for Patreon, okay? Don't join Patreon. However, today or tomorrow, I'm going to be recording a video about Tim Snyden on Patreon, because I put up a thing last week saying I didn't know what topic to do. So I asked the Patreon, which one? Here's two, which one? And the majority voted for, 52% voted for Tim Snyden. So I'm going to be doing a video about that on there. But in there, I'll explain why I wouldn't swap him for Ashworth. However, it doesn't mean I wouldn't take Dan Ashworth to West Ham. Paul says Potter will come good. Yesterday when no attacking threat. Had we had Bowen and Somerville yesterday, the outcome would have been different. DC says Kilman is a victim of Gonzo's seal. Well, he's going on about Wan-Bissaka at the minute. So Wan-Bissaka starts playing crap, we know who to blame, DC. Are the fancy videos could Frankie come back? Not sure. It's just life, John. It's just life. I'm still not back to sort of like normality at my end of things. And Frankie's got a lot on with work, and he's started coaching. He's now a football manager at Cray. Is it Wanderers? Cray Wanderers. So he's only just started out with them. So he's got a lot on his plate as well. So maybe I do miss them. I did enjoy doing them, but we'll see. Anyway, I think we will leave it there. I think I'll leave it there. So the comments underneath this video, get involved. Let me know what you're thinking. I might be back later on today with a little transfer video and have a chit chat about, you know, the importance and what I hope to see West Ham do between now and the transfer deadline, and any players that we're being linked to today, which I always find this strange. Transfer rumours die down on the weekend a little bit. It's almost like journalists have matches to talk about or something, or maybe they're taking the weekend off. It could just be a coincidence. But I think transfer rumours today will be quite little. But tomorrow, I think you'll see, and Tuesday, I think you'll see a lot of transfer rumours regarding West Ham. Weird how that happens. Anyway, catch you in a bit.